Hi everyone, this is Mr. Tucker and Miss McMahon from McKeithen Elementary. In this video, we will give you an overview of traditional and standards-based grading methods, the pros and cons of each, and a general overview of our grading methods. In the next section, we are going to go over what a traditional program and grading method looks like. When we talk about traditional grading within a program, the curriculum is based off of the success of a group of students in the context of a specific subject or lesson. The traditional grading methods typically used in a physical education program are based largely off of student performance and not the overall learning of students. In traditional grading methods, wearing appropriate clothing, participation, effort, attitude, and behavior are common methods used for assessments in physical education. When using this grading method, teachers are often susceptible to grading effort based on feelings rather than objective, standardized measure. The criterion for traditional grading program often changes when the teacher does, depending on the lesson context or when things such as dressing out are considered part of the grade. There are various issues related to traditional grading methods, and on the next slide we are going to discuss a few of these issues. When discussing traditional based grading, there is a large mismatch between assessments and content standards. Because of this, many qualitative content standards cannot be definitively judged by a teacher. When there are not clear content standards, the teacher is allowed to include various aspects to the grading criteria. This results in a large disconnect between what the administrators expect and what teachers do. Students often use grades to classify themselves and their classmates. In that aspect, the social effects in K through 12 will transfer into the real world. In the case of a traditional grading system, students are often unclear as to what the standard or criterion they are being measured against. When students receive a bad grade based on the criterion they did not know existed, they become discouraged, and when it comes to developing and refining their abilities. When a student perceives the teacher grading system as unfair, a foundation of distrust is built. Unfortunately, the traditional grading system often allows students to foster the belief that they are not all equal, and some are better than others. Throughout the use of traditional grading systems, the profession of being a physical educator becomes marginalized. This is because without quality physical education programs that have clear, measurable means of assessment, physical education is seen as irrelevant and is not taken seriously. In this instance, the program and profession are not worth advocating for. On our next slide, Ms. Tabitha will provide you with information on the relationship between content standards, lesson objectives, lesson content, and assessments.
In our program, content standards, lesson content, objectives, and assessments students are given are all linked directly to national and state standards. This outlines what students are expected to learn and be able to do through participating in physical education classes. The curriculum that we implement to align to the NASB and NC standards is known as SPARK. On the next slide, I'd like to give you some more information on standards-based grading. Overall, standards represent the distribution of quality along a specified continuum. These standards and criterion are what students' work should be referenced against. The purpose of standards is to facilitate clear thinking and communication amongst teachers, enhance the comparability of results, and help students and their parents understand assessment decisions. Standards-based grading is an assessment model that relies on students demonstrating mastery of learning objectives. Grades students receive when using the standards-based grading method are specific to each individual student's achievement and not compared to others' achievement. In the next slide, I'd like to go over the advantages to standards-based grading. There are various advantages of using standards-based grading in physical education. To start with, standards-based grading provides specific information about learning targets. This allows students to be graded accurately on their achievements. Standards-based grading also keeps schools and physical education instructors accountable for student learning while in physical education class. The grades given with the standards-based grading method are based on each student's achievement of the standards rather than on his or her achievement in comparison to other students. Implementing standards-based grading also allows for students to be actively engaged in the learning process by having access to standards. This increases the likelihood of student success. We hope this video has provided you with more information on standards-based and traditional grading methods, and you are able to see the multitude of opportunities that are waiting for students when it comes to standards-based grading methods. This slide provides resources for parents seeking more information. Thank you so much for watching.
created using Powtoon.